Hey, Emma.
Yes, Mel.
What do you call it when you catch yourself daydreaming so much that you almost believe it, but then you say something and it brings you back to reality? It's not even really what do you call it. What do you say?
I don't know. What do you say?
You say, fantasy life. Aye! Hello and welcome to Talk This.
It's dangerous to podcast alone.
I'm your helpful household robot, Madelyn.
I'm your expansive world host, Emma. I don't know.
Thanks for tuning in to this week's show. This week we are talking about Chibi-Robo and Fantasy Life I. Emma really liked the joke.
Do you say "I" regularly in everyday life when you're frustrated?
No, but I think I might start. I think it's something that could be incorporated into my life.
All right. It's not a phrase that came naturally to me, which is why it was a little funny. That's why.
I really ought to start, doing a screenshot, like an Emma reaction screenshot.
No.
that you can put on the blog for each episode so that people understand.
The light behind my head is sort of washing out my face right now anyway, so
it's
I
good.
don't know if that would work very well.
It's giving Jesus didn't love the joke. Anyway, speaking of saviors, I guess. I don't know. Chibi-Robo really saves the family.
He does.
Chibi-Robo. So Chibi-Robo, Plug into Adventure is the actual title of the first one. Not enough games with exclamation points in the title anymore.
True.
I have to say.
We're too serious now for exclamation points.
Yeah, we really are.
They should call it Hades 2.
Honestly, Hades with an exclamation point would kind of eat.
Again, I feel like it reminds me of the Mythomania books.
Yeah.
Those ones would be called, Hades.
Well, and it kind of gives help, like the Beatles album.
Yeah.
Anyway. Not enough games with exclamation points, let alone 2 exclamation points. It's not Chibi-Robo : Plug into Adventure. It's Chibi-Robo Plug into Adventure, as if it's in the imperative voice.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Which is really good. We don't make them like that. Anyway, it's a adventure sort of platformer, although if you call it a platformer, the reviewers will not like that. Game from Skip. LTD stands for Limited, right?
Yes.
Which was almost an internal studio for Nintendo. I mean, it wasn't, but they only made games for Nintendo. So it was published by Nintendo for the GameCube in 2005 in Japan and 2006 elsewhere. And it just came to, and I'm sure this is why it's in the hat, it just came to the Switch 2 via the Nintendo Switch Online expansion pack, which of course you can only access if you have a Switch 2. Chibi-Robo might be the killer
only on
app.
Switch 2?
What?
Is GameCube only on Switch 2?
I am pretty sure.
I couldn't remember.
The killer app.
Yeah, it is, actually.
Genuinely. Anyway, in Chibi-Robo, you play as 3-inch tall robot Chibi-Robo. And you're a little guy, owned by the Sanderson family. And basically, you run around the house doing chores, both for the humans and helping out the other toy friends that you have.
Yes, the toys come to life at night.
As toys, Emma said that that's something that you don't know.
It is.
Here, in the real world.
Toys come to life at night, yeah.
Yeah, so just for clarity, that was a weird way for her to phrase that, but yes. Sometimes the Japanese game envisioning of America is not totally right, but in this case it is.
Yeah. They watched Toy Story, the documentary feature on toys and how they come to life.
How long do you think we have until they make a live action Toy Story?
God. Soon.
They're probably already making it, right?
Yes, and of course they will call it live action instead of 3D animated.
No, live action Toy Story. The toys are alive.
Yeah.
We've shrunk down Tom Hanks. Anyway, Chibi-Robo is a robot, and his goal is to become a super Chibi-Robo, among other things. And he's a robot, though, that has a battery that runs out. And it's 2006, so his battery runs out pretty quickly, much like your Game Boy Advance.
Yep.
So you've got to plug in and recharge while you're doing that, or you Chibi-Robo conk out and wake up again in your Chibi house.
Yes, and you lose the, currency that you have accumulated, like half of it, if that happens. So you
Happy
don't want
points.
it to happen. Yes, your happy points that you get for doing various little tasks around the house.
I would like that.
Yeah, a little guy, a little sentient Roomba.
That too, but I meant, how do I accumulate points for doing housework? I say, I'm looking
You
at
could
like,
probably make a system for yourself.
but that's not fun.
Like, you're like, if I get this many points for doing housework, then I can then do this, you know? And
But-
like cash it into yourself.
Here's the thing. I am not a robot, so
Yeah.
I could choose just to do that.
Yeah, true.
It requires a level of discipline and willpower that is not what I'm looking for from this system. So yes, I wish that I got happy points for doing household tasks. That would be nice. I wouldn't mind having a helpful 3-inch tall robot, but
Yeah.
that's neither here nor there.
So when Chibi-Robo enters the family, the Sanderson family is kind of a big hot mess
It's in crisis.
at the beginning. Mr. Sanderson has been banished to the couch for buying too many trinkets and toys, of which Chibi-Robo is one of them.
This is a portrait into Emma's future.
I guess so, yeah. And the daughter of the family has become so introverted and withdrawn that she's started just sort of acting like a frog around the house.
Another thing that we might all try.
Yeah. No, it's so you have to sort of help the Sandersons, as well as, you know, like cleaning up little messes or doing little tasks. You also have to try to bring the Sanderson family back together through your Chibi-Robo charm.
Do you think they brought this game back because they were like, ooh, people like jumpy little games about divorce?
It Takes Two. It does remind me of that a little bit, yeah. It's not quite like that.
I know
I
it's
would
not
say.
quite like that. Like, I recognize that it's not the same game, but the aesthetic is not so dissimilar. The setup of it is not so dissimilar. It was interesting.
The toys also have their own, like, interpersonal dramas that Chibi-Robo has to navigate as well.
Again, Emma says that, like, that's not something we're all familiar with.
Yeah.
Among toys. Yeah, this story goes weird places. In the end.
I guess sort of.
I mean, would I have looked at this game? It's a robot. I don't know, maybe. Would I have looked at this game and expected alien involvement? Like
Yeah.
a Deus Ex Alien situation?
Kinda.
I don't know that I would have, personally. It took me by surprise. Would I have expected the solving of a global energy crisis to be part of this game? No.
That is a big part, because Chibi-Robos are so popular, but they take so much power that they've caused a energy crisis on Earth.
Is this game a meditation on the dangers of AI?
No, because in the end, it's good.
Yeah.
There are also little enemy robots that you find sometimes, and Chibi-Robo does have a little blaster weapon that he can use to defend himself. So there's some action, too, if you're worried about that.
Yeah, if you were wanting to make sure there's actions. never
actions.
fear.
I said action.
Sorry.
There are definitely actions.
I'm just kidding. That was a joke. No, never fear. You can shoot some things. Which was actually, I think, sort of more part of the game in its initial iteration.
No. I mean, the setting is a little bit more like that.
In terms of the context of what you're doing, you weren't shooting more people. There was more action trappings.
Yes, sort of. So the original version of the game was going to be published by Bandai Namco, which, as one article I read pointed out, if you have the Chibi-Robo amiibo, you will actually see the Bandai Namco logo on it because it has some copyright over it still. And it was a point-and-click adventure, so you didn't actually directly control Chibi-Robo at all. You just sort of told him where to go and what to do. And the setup of the initial one was sort of more of a Home Alone situation where you're defending the house of your inventor from burglars. But for whatever reason, of which nobody who works on it has been like particularly clear on like the specifics of why, but the original version got shelved, and then the project was restarted because Shigeru Miyamoto mostly really liked the character design, apparently.
I mean, to quote him, a point-and-click game is bad forever. But
yes,
a cute little robot, that can be good.
Exactly. But yeah, it does seem to be, there's an interview with Kenichi Nishi, who was the director of the first game, also known for things like Moon RPG. And basically he implied that, like, Miyamoto was like, this character design's great. We should make a game with this character design that's nothing like the one you were making before.
Yes, when I read that the battery plugging and unplugging was his idea, I was like, oh, but that's the whole game. You know,
the whole game is wandering around doing things. I think that the plugging just adds more, like, interest to actually moving around the environment.
Of course. I didn't mean to say that the whole game is about plugging and unplugging. It was a good encapsulation of, oh, wow, this guy knows how to make games.
Yes, true.
Because that feels like such a key element of what makes this game unique and not just like you're jumping around as a robot, which that would be a fine game too. But the energy management and how you get further, I mean, it's very roguelike-y in a totally not roguelike way at all, right? Mm-hmm. Anyway, Chibi-Robo used to be, I mean, it was quite acclaimed. People loved Chibi-Robo. But it didn't sell awesome. Like, it sold fine. They made a bunch of other ones for various handhelds, mostly. There's a 2007 DS one, Chibi-Robo Park Patrol, where you're, like, cleaning up a park. That one sold really badly here because it was a Walmart exclusive.
Yeah.
Which, that's like, can you imagine in 2025?
Well, they sort of try to do that by having seller exclusive, like, content that you can get.
Sure, like a costume.
Yeah.
But
or
like
your
game. Your game can only be purchased at Walmart.
Yeah. The third one didn't come over here at all, I believe. Yeah. And then are there 5?
There's Photo Finder, which on 3DS, which sounded wild. It's like making you use the 3DS's real camera to try to take photos of things that match a cutout shape.
Yeah.
Which, to be honest, look, I don't think it doesn't sound like that game was very good, but it's kind of a cool idea.
The DS was a cool system, man.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've listened to this podcast. That's never been an opinion that I've expressed before.
Has Emma ever said that before? And then there was Ziplash in 2015, which was kind of a failure, and was maybe like a side scroller. I don't know. Most of these sequels are not really, like, they don't really operate in quite the same way as the original.
They changed the gameplay pretty much from game to game. And a lot of the staff working on it as well. It was not like a consistent team working on the Chibi-Robo games. The first game especially did not sell well, partially because it was a GameCube game that came out like when the Wii came out.
Yeah, it was a very late era GameCube game. Several of the reviews are like, stop using it as a doorstop. Like, you should play Chibi-Robo.
They did also make like a Wii version, but that was not brought over here either.
Skip Limited doesn't exist anymore, but some of the employees have gone on to form Tiny Wonder Studio, and they're currently making a game called Ko-Robo, which is literally Chibi-Robo.
Yeah, I think that this has Nishi as the director again, who only directed the original, so...
I won't get into this too much, but this one is so similar. Sometimes I go, that's so crazy that it's just like, you're gonna make the same game. I realize I'm not being very eloquent about this, but I looked at this one and I was like, that's exactly the same game. And that's wild that that's how the game industry works. And it makes sense because until Chibi-Robo was released for Switch 2, I mean, I suppose that actually to play it is a several $100 investment because you have to have a Switch 2 and also Nintendo Switch Online plus expansion pack. So I recognize that maybe what I'm saying is not quite correct. But now it's sort of accessible, assuming you at least have the system to play it on, which you probably don't. Who has a Switch 2? Probably a lot of people, not me. But this was like a $200 plus GameCube cartridge to buy. It was like an expensive one. So you would... On one hand, when I looked at this, I had the visceral reaction of, that's crazy that you are just going to make the exact same game. More or less. And in what other media? Actually, that's not even true. I just talked about live action Toy Story. Yep. But like, what a sad thing that that's what we do, I guess. But also, this game was totally impossible to play, basically. So it makes sense.
I have different feelings about like a company remaking their work versus creators revisiting their work.
Sure.
I would say. So I don't think it's fair to compare it to like a live action Lion King or whatever.
I was originally going to say I can't think of this happening, and I agree with you that these are not really the same thing. They really aren't. Especially because the interactivity of games, right? And like we want more of it. It's just interesting. It's more like sports, right? Than media in that way. It's like, oh, I'm going to watch the, Yankees play the Mets over and over, right? Even though it's the same. And you're not gonna, if an author rewrote the same book, you're probably not.
Authors have styles.
I know. Sorry, I don't know what it is that I'm quite getting at here. I just looked at this and I was like, it's so crazy that it feels like, oh, whatever. I'll drop this.
I get sort of what you're trying to say, but I don't think it's necessarily true. I don't know. I mean, I just saw a trailer for the new Running Man movie that's already been adapted, right? So I don't know if it's true that we did make the same movies over and over again sometimes.
I guess that's true.
And not even on like a Disney level.
Sure.
Like, we're adapting this book again, You're
right, of course.
Or that one guy who painted the same thing over and over again. Or Monet painting his pond several times,
Sure. I like Fiery Chibi-Robo. Did you see him?
I did not.
So Fiery Chibi-Robo is apparently a little bit of a meme of like, I'm excited about a Nintendo Direct. Because at some point they tweeted something about an upcoming Nintendo Direct that had Fiery Chibi-Robo. He's like, that was just for Emma. Just trust that I made a face. And then they didn't have Chibi-Robo in the Direct.
The Silk Song.
Yeah.
Effect.
Hang on. I'm looking him up for you so I can... Yeah, he's so good.
I believe you.
I don't know how to send this to you right now.
You can show me after.
Don't worry, listeners. Look him up right now. Search Fiery Chibi-Robo. He's going wild. I also read an article about speedrunning for this, where there's like a tiny little community and they were trying to get upstairs and it required like 5 hours of frame perfect inputs. People love Chibi-Robo.
Yeah, there was when Chibi-Robo was released for Switch 2, the co-director Hiroshi Moriyama called it, like, the concept was Zelda without the battles, and wanting to make sure that walking around and climbing furniture felt like a thrilling experience. And apparently he has 1,000 animations, which is a lot for a character of that time. He also shared a little concept sketch where all the little features are labeled with like chibi eyes, chibi hatch. So when you refer to parts of Chibi-Robo's body, you have to call them like his chibi arms, I believe.
That's anatomically correct.
Yeah. That's the scientific terminology.
This game also gives, again, very different, gives like to a T vibes. It looks so much like Jak and Daxter to me. Like that era. I know it's not exactly the same.
It is sort of that era, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it is that era. But I'm wondering, we've got our resurgence of PS1 era horror games, right? Where's my resurgence of PS1 era, like, chunky cartoon guys?
That's more PS2, I guess.
I guess that is you're right. When do I get the PS2?
It'll come eventually.
Like, how long? Before or after Toy Story live action?
I mean, I don't know. In some ways, it's already sort of here. You get stuff like Bubsy.
True. Anyway, I would play Chibi-Robo, but I'm not going to buy a Switch for it.
I really don't like their expansion pack model, I guess. I don't know. I don't really like any of the game library models inherently, I suppose, but
Other than Apple Arcade.
Other than, of course, Apple Arcade, the best deal in gaming.
Thank you.
But I feel like at least like PlayStation also like offers you like a library of retro games for being on their Pro, but I believe a lot of them, if not all of them, are also available for individual sale. If you don't want to pay for the subscription fee. And Nintendo, that is not the case. You do have to pay for the expansion pack to get it. If I'm wrong about that, then you can just apply saying, I don't like that that's the way it is on PlayStation either. But I'm pretty sure the way that theirs works is you can buy games individually that you want to play as well.
To be a little bit fair, I think the Nintendo subscription is significantly cheaper than the PlayStation ones. I'm pretty sure I don't know what the expansion pass.
The expansion pass, I think, is like $30 a month.
That can't be right.
I believe that's what it is.
I pay $50 a year for Switch Online.
That's what the number that's in my head. So.
Okay, never mind then. That's a crazy amount.
I mean, I think it's equivalent to like the PlayStation one.
Yeah, but the PlayStation, well, whatever. Apple Arcade. Sign up for Apple Arcade. This podcast believes in Apple Arcade.
Yeah.
I don't know that I feel like, on one hand, don't you wish that this would mean more actual Chibi-Robo? He's so charming looking, but it won't.
I mean, like you said, a lot of the original creators are making a spiritual successor. That's fine with me. I don't really need something to be branded, I guess. I know some people have emotional attachment to like names and stuff, and I'm not saying that's necessarily a bad thing, obviously, but I don't know. We got Ko-Robo if you want it.
That's fair. Do you think Ko-Robo will have a gun?
Hopefully. Shotgun.
Well, on that note, let's talk about Fantasy Life I.
Fantasy Life I, The Girl Who Steals Time. No exclamation points in there. Although I guess you could say the I is lowercase. So is it not just an upside down exclamation point? Consider that. It's a 2025 life simulation game from Level 5 and is the sequel to Fantasy Life, which I believe was a 3DS game. Like a 2012 3DS game, yes. And it's sort of like Rune Factory, I feel like, is probably the closest comparison. Where, you have like your base that you build up, but you also sort of go out exploring. And the way this one works is you have various different like life paths that you can level up and get new skills in. So like it's got like a job system essentially. In a more sort of Final Fantasy-esque way, job system, not like a you go to work system. If that makes sense.
Cozy gig economy simulator.
Yeah, so you have your home base. There are different tasks that can be given to you. You get different tasks based on which of your life classes you have currently. This one also has time travel, so you can go back and forth between the current island that you're building up and this island like 1,000 years in the future as well. And essentially the gist of it seems to be like it just got everything. And you can kind of just engage with the parts that you want as you want to.
This game seems dangerous for me.
It does a little bit. Although you've never really gotten into any of these sort of like life simmy games. Like you've never played Rune Factory or Harvest Moon or anything like that.
I played Animal Crossing.
But not for that long.
I played Animal Crossing for months.
That's not very long for Animal Crossing, honestly.
Okay, but
although this has more going on than New Horizons at the very least.
Well, that's what I was going to say, is that this game, in some ways, seems like it solves an issue that I have with some of these life sim games, which is that eventually you're just there to, like, mow the lawn, right? And I like a checklist because I like to feel like I'm accomplishing something or I'm, like, working through a task, not just for the sake of having a checklist, right? So Animal Crossing eventually felt not very fulfilling for me because I'd kind of done the things that I wanted to do, and like there were some, I could have been trying to crossbreed flowers or whatever, but some of the stuff was so hard that I didn't want to do it, and I didn't feel like I had a drive. And this game does feel like it's like, oh, it's Animal Crossing, but like also you're working toward more stuff.
Yeah.
It seems to me, honestly, in some ways, I know that the gameplay loop is not exactly like this, but it's a little bit more of what I wanted Is it Cult of the... I've gone back to being like, is it Cult of Lamb? It's Cult of the Lamb. Yes. It's what I wanted... In my notes, it's Cult of Lamb. I just want to say that for the record. It's what I wanted Cult of the Lamb to be. A little bit. In that the, like, villagey builder stuff seems more robust.
So the RPG site review sort of broke it down into, you have your initial island where you're working on your life classes and where the main narrative is, and then you might get different islands accessible as you move through the story. Then you have your island that you can design, as well as have access to their multiplayer systems and any recruited NPCs you can spend time with. This is the more sort of Animal Crossing-esque part of it. And then there is an open world area where you can explore and gather items and battle monsters and all this sort of stuff, and then bring that back, sort of to your town. So it's got sort of like these 3 different spaces in which you can spend a whole lot of time.
And that's a whole lot of time. Every review is like, the girl who steals time, this did steal my time.
Yeah, pretty much. It did pretty well for level 5. Apparently, it sold 1 million copies within like a month of its launch, which is pretty good for a company like level 5. And so they've been releasing like a ton of free DLC expansions as well, with like different gameplay modes, more content, really anything that you can imagine they're putting in it, and it's just there for you to play with.
And it's such an interesting, I mean, games are all about, oh, this worked for this game, but it won't work for you. Reading about this game sort of sounds like, oh, this shouldn't work, right? And even reading the reviews, it sort of seems like, oh, this got a 9, but like, why? Like, the reviewer loves it, but everything is sort of like, well, like, this part of the system isn't as robust as Animal Crossing, but it's still good. Or this part of the RPG is pretty simple, but it's still good. Or the roguelike is not like full roguelike, but it's still good. It's so interesting that in this case, doing a bunch of things sort of well. Like, a lot of games do a bunch of things sort of well, and it's like, oh, this is way too much. Why is this here? And in this game, somehow, something about the gameplay grind loop came together in the right way, such that even though no one part of the game are they really hitting it out of the park, it works. Which is so interesting because that sort of seems like game design 101, don't do this.
Well, they've been open to the fact that, so this game was delayed several times for like 2 years. That's sort of the level 5 ethos. Right now is just continually delay your game.
Somebody said something about that sometime.
You're right.
No, sorry, wrong. That was a quote about point-and-click adventure games.
Yeah,
sorry, go
on. But apparently, like, a year before its release, they got some very harsh playtesting feedback. The producer who had been working on the game up to that point had left the company, and they basically decided that they just had to rebuild it from the ground up. There was an interview on Den Faminico Gamer channel with Akihiro Hino, who's the CEO of Level 5, as well as the producer on this game. And he said that in its initial form, it often felt like it was trying to extend your play time at the expense of making things stressful, with a lot of like limited movement that you could do as well. And so they basically rebuilt it with the goal that every action you take feels good and comfortable. So like you can seamlessly switch between doing a whole bunch of different things, and it never feels awkward to control or feels like there's this weird friction in like tasks that feels like they should be easy, right?
Yeah.
So it's essentially like they really smoothed it down to a fine, I don't actually know what I was going to end that with, but they smoothed it down.
They smoothed it down.
For this sort of genre of game where there is so much to do and so much that you can do, is probably important to keep your players from bouncing off of it too fast.
Well, the ability to switch between jobs whenever you want was both surprising to me and feels like a big part of that.
Yeah. They also, this was also things like bringing in cross-save and cross-play, which were not features originally, but brought them in to make it like easier to play, right? You can hop from one system to another. You can play with whoever you want on multiplayer, right? Generally just seems like they decided after getting this harsh feedback, they're like, this is going to be the most streamlined, like easy to pick up, easy to put down game that's ever been made. Which, for some games, some genres, that would suck, right?
Yeah.
But for this particular type of game, where you want to keep the player playing and want to keep the player having fun, like having friction where you switch between like picking up a rock versus chopping a tree, and there's like a weird like menu interaction that you have to go through in order to do this. Like you want to remove that as much as possible.
And to be clear, there's still, I wouldn't necessarily call this friction, but, you know, you are having to do things. Sorry, that was not the most smooth way of saying that. But you can't just be like, I'm only going to chop wood forever, and my game is going to progress. Right? There is kind of interlocking, oh, you're out doing combat, but to advance in combat, you need a better weapon, so you have to, like, chop wood, but then you have to level up your forge, and to do that, you have to get ore, and whatever. There's a lot of, you do have to be switching between things, and the grind can sometimes be a little bit intense, from what I was reading. But, yes, overall, all of those things are, like, smooth and easy to do, and it doesn't make it hard for you to do them. You just can't always get exactly what you want right away. It's apparently kind of a TikTok darling, which I imagine is why it sold so well.
The elusive TikTok viral marketing.
You just have to hope.
You just have to hope it happens.
Like you. Everybody calling this a checklist game, and the original one too, made me feel like Eric Andre at the Gate.
Yeah?
Yeah. I'm like, let me in!
Yeah. Well, you could pick it up.
I have to play the games that I'm playing. I've barely been playing the games that I'm playing. I've been so busy.
You have to play the games that make you happy, Madeline.
True. But I have to play the games that I'm playing. I have to get through Clair Obscur. I don't know how I'm going to do it. I like it. I just am not home.
That is the problem.
That's the trick.
If only it was on the Nintendo 3DS.
If only.
The original game also had music by Uematsu of Final Fantasy fame, whose arrangements are also in this game, and I believe he also helped compose the theme song for it. He's mostly retired at this point, so most of the new tracks are by somebody else. I'm not sure who the composer on this one is. But I always think it's fun when I see a composer, especially that like I know iconically from like one series. Right? Like, whenever I see Yoko Shimomura on something else, like Mario and Luigi, I'm like,
I know
there
her.
she is.
Yeah.
Haruno Ito is the composer on this one, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta eat in between those Final Fantasies.
Yeah. I also think it's worth mentioning that Level 5 as a company is very all in on AI and stable diffusion stuff. They do not seem to put it like in the final versions of their work, but they do use it a lot for concepting and have talked about it openly and stuff. So, just as a disclaimer on where Level 5 is right now, they sort of suck a little bit.
I mean, this game has or is coming. Someone was talking about it, and I was like, I thought this wasn't coming until later this year, but then it seemed like, there's a roguelike mode.
Yes.
That I have to imagine is utilizing some of that stuff.
I mean, there's already a roguelike mode in it. No, that's not... Procedural generation is not generative AI.
Okay.
Just to make that clarification.
Okay, good. Then I can talk about how I felt like the structure of the roguelike was kind of interesting, actually. I think there should be more roguelikes that are not just combat.
Right, yes. You have to, like, chop down boss trees.
Yeah.
Or whatever. That's where sick. I saw Uematsu mentioned first, is because it will play the boss music during this time. So it'll play like a epic Uematsu track while you're attempting to chop down this tree.
I think that's awesome. Yeah, I'm surprised. it made me think. I was like, oh, like roguelikes really fall into two categories, right? We've got Spelunky likes and we've got rogues. Roguelikes.
Sure. Or you have like knowledge ones.
Oh, like blueprints.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, you're right. But where are my chore based? Where's my like cooking mama roguelike?
That would be a really funny concept, actually. Like, can you get all of your housework done in a day?
Yeah.
Else you will have to try again.
Or like you could do it as a you're working in a restaurant concept, right? Like you are just constantly having different dishes thrown at you or something.
That's a good like horror game concept.
Sure.
You're like a low paid server at a restaurant in like a time loop. And you have to like successfully perform your job over and over and over again. Like the same night of it.
Nice. Well, I've got good game ideas here.
Not mashups, but good game ideas.
Okay. Am I ready to mash? Am I ready to monster mash?
Any last thoughts on Fantasy Life I? I did not look into the story much. Do you have the lore corner, Madelyn?
The story is sort of goofy. Is it's there. You have like a guy.
Is there a girl stealing time in it?
I think so, yes. You live on Riveria. There's something with the village going on. I don't know. I don't have a particularly detailed Madelyn's lore corner. Everything was sort of like, the story's pretty good, but it's short and it's not really what you're here for.
Yeah, I did read in one of the reviews that's sort of like, you can choose what you're most interested in out of like all the options that it gives you. And maybe that's like, you don't even ever finish the story because you don't really have to.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe you just want to make a cute little Animal Crossing island.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
So in some sense, I think these games mash well, and in other senses, I'm concerned. So one issue, of course, is that Fantasy Life I is already 20 games, right?
Right.
And so that's a little bit tricky because literally anything is already there.
Chibi-Robo is, in some ways, kind of structurally similar, though.
Yeah. That's part of the issue.
Yeah.
Is Fantasy Life I is huge, and Chibi-Robo isn't huge, but it's, not so structurally different that just being like, there's a robot now.
Yeah.
Is quite good enough. I mean, like taking something and setting it, so instead of it being in like a big village or whatever, it probably needs to be set in a dysfunctional household.
Okay.
Maybe. There has to be a robot. Maybe some time travel. Bunch of different game modes.
Okay, you're the young child of a dysfunctional house.
Cool.
Right? Okay, you're the youngest child. Your parents are fighting. Your siblings are acting out in different ways. And you just want to escape it all, right? So you can choose to, like, help around the house when things don't get done for various reasons. You can go out into the neighborhood and sort of explore and meet people. You can help them with various things or play with them. You talk to your toys. I don't know. It's in there. You're a kid, so you can pretend talk to your toys. So on and so forth.
I like the idea of this a lot. I think this is an effective mashup. I don't know that we're going to be able to get people to want to play a game where they are playing as like a 7-year-old. But
why not?
I just think it will be hard. I think it will be a hard sell.
I don't know. There's like Grounded, where you're like shrunken little kids.
I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm not shelving the game.
Or the one where you're like sneaking into your neighbor's house, the horror cartoon one. I don't know. I think you can do kids.
We would just have to think about like how the humor of the game, you know, like what is the conversation of the game? How does that work? How are we avoiding hitting people with baby voice for 80 hours?
They just talk with
problem solved.
That's my impression of the beeps and boops that voice dialogue can make. Beep, boop, 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 beep, boop, boop.
Problem solved. Well done. Nice work.
No, I don't think it should be voice acted. I guess Fantasy Life I does. It's not fully voice acted. I don't know if Chibi-Robo has voice acting, actually. I don't think so.
He has unique music notes he makes when he moves. Like musical sounds. Okay, I like this idea. Because, yeah, it allows us to, like, play with imagination and, like, your home being your kingdom or whatever. And,
yeah. And I feel like the way you could make it something like dark, but I think it would just be like you're just a normal kind of dysfunctional family, not like you're a really dysfunctional family.
No. Right? I didn't mean that. I just mean like the ability to like you're a child who has an imagination is useful for being able to implement some of these kind of like RPG-y or farm sim, like any of those things that would be weird for an older child to be thinking of as their home. Yeah. Like a 7-year-old can have an imaginative world where those things make sense.
Yeah. It's like Malcolm in the Middle.
It's and like Malcolm in the Middle.
What's the youngest kid's name? Dewey?
Dewey.
How's that?
That's good. Okay. Fantasy Life Dewey. Bryan Cranston isn't cooking meth.
Yeah.
Not that dysfunctional of a family.
Yes.
Well, I don't really think I'm going to come up with anything better than that. I'm going to be honest.
And maybe there are aliens, but maybe not, because you're a child.
Exactly. The aliens, ambiguous whether they are real.
Yeah.
But they could be. Well, I think that's as good. I have nothing else to offer. I think any mashup that I offered would just be like, you're a robot farmer.
Could do that too.
Like, honestly, that would probably sell. Like, you're a robot farmer with robot friends.
Yeah.
And I'd make $1 million.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, well, with those two equally well fleshed out game ideas here, thank you for listening to this week's episode of Talk This.
It's dangerous to podcast alone.
Do you like robots? Do you like farming? Do you say "aye" in your normal life very often as a reaction? If you have thoughts about this or anything else we talked about this week, hit us up on social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky, and YouTube at Talk This Podcast. You can also visit our website, www.talkthispodcast.com, where you can read all about the show, check out the games in the hat, and read our blog. But most importantly, if you enjoy the show, you ought to subscribe. We're on Apple Podcasts, YouTube Podcasts, TuneIn, Spotify, Pandora Podcasts Online on the app, Overcast, Pocket Casts, wherever you can find podcasts. Subscribe to Talk This so you never miss an episode. It's 6 weeks in gaming next week. Who would have thought? October. Yep. But Emma, what are we talking about in 2 weeks?
In 2 weeks, for our old game, we'll be talking about Undertale.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's unfair. I'm playing Delta. I can't play Undertale now.
You could. It's not that long, I'm pretty sure.
I gotta blaze through Deltarune first. Okay, sure.
Or you could watch their 10th anniversary stream where they played a very normal version of Undertale. That was normal.
Great.
And for our new game, we were talking about Lost Soul Aside.
So look forward to that in 2 weeks, in October. Well, folks, that's it for this week's show. Emma, sign us off.
This week, I hope that you earn so many happy points that you don't know what to do with them.